Hello cloud technology enthusiasts. My name is Sriram. Welcome to this presentation. This presentation is all about the AWS Compute Services basics. AWS Compute Services are below: EC2 Elastic Cloud Compute, EC2 Image Builder, Elastic Beanstalk Parallel Cluster, EMP End of Support Program, SAM Serverless Application Model, SAR Serverless Application Repository, Lightsail, Outpost, Batch, Lambda, App Runner, and Wavelength. Total 13 services. Along with compute services, we have container services. Containers as a compute service. Containers are nothing but group of servers, group of clusters which are readily available for your applications or projects. ECR, Elastic Container Registry. ECS, Elastic Container Service. EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. App to Container, App Runner, ROSA, Red Hat OpenShift Service in AWS. App Runner is in both compute services as well as container. So that's why it is 6 minus 1, 5 services only. 13 compute services and 5 container services. Let us get into each and every service and try to understand the basics. Here comes the first service, EC2 Elastic Cloud Compute. Elastic Cloud Compute provides scalable computing capacity in AWS Cloud. Using EC2 eliminates your need to invest in hardware upfront because it's a pay-as-you-go model, so you can develop and deploy the applications faster. You can use EC2 to launch as many or as few virtual servers as you need. Configure your security and network and manage the storage. EC2 enables you to scale up or scale down depending on the requirement, or handle the changes in the requirement or spikes in popularity, reducing your need to forecast the traffic. Next compute service is Batch. AWS Batch helps you to run batch computing workloads on cloud. Batch computing is a common way for developers, scientists, engineers to access a large amount of compute resources. AWS Batch removes the undifferentiated heavy lifting of configuring and managing the required infrastructure, similar to traditional batch computing software. This service can efficiently provision resources in response to jobs submitted in order to eliminate capacity constraints, reduce capacity costs, and deliver results quickly. As a fully managed service, AWS Batch helps you to run batch computing workloads at any scale. AWS Batch automatically provisions compute resources and optimizes the workload distribution based on the quantity and scale of the workload. With Batch, there is no need to install or manage batch computing software, so you can focus on your time on analyzing the results and solving the problems and thinking about the enhancements of the project. Next available service is Lightsail. Lightsail is the easiest way to get started with AWS for developers, small businesses, students, and other users who need a solution to build and host their websites and web applications in the cloud. Lightsail provides developers compute, storage, and networking capacity. LS includes everything you need to launch a project quickly, like virtual machines, containers, databases, content distribution network CDN, load balancers, DNS management, etc. for a low and predictable monthly price. Lightsail is best suited for projects that require few dozen instances or less, and developers who prefer a simple management interface. Common use cases for Lightsail includes running websites, web applications, business software blogs, e-commerce sites, and more. As your project grows, you can use load balancers and attached block storage with your instances to increase redundancy and uptime and access dozens of other services to add new capabilities. Next compute service is Lambda. Lambda is called serverless architecture. Lambda is a compute service that helps you to run code without provisioning and managing the servers. AWS take care of that. Lambda runs your code on a high availability compute infrastructure and performs all of the administration tasks such as compute resources including servers and operating system maintenance, capacity monitoring, provisioning, and automate scaling and logging. With Lambda, you can run code for virtually any type of application or backend services. All you need to do is supply the code to the Lambda, and AWS will take care of the infrastructure and maintenance of the infrastructure so that you can concentrate on your code itself. Next compute service available is Outpost. Outpost is a fully managed service of AWS. Outpost is a fully managed service that extends AWS infrastructure, services, APIs, and tools to customer on-premises data centers. By providing local access to AWS managed infrastructure, AWS Outpost enables customers to build and run applications on-premises using the same programming interfaces as in AWS regions, while using local compute and storage resources for lower latency and local data processing needs. An outpost is a pool of AWS compute and storage capacity deployed at a customer site. AWS operates, monitors, and manages this capacity as part of AWS region. You can create subnets on your outpost and specify them when you need to create resources like EC2, EBS volumes, ECS, and RDS instances. Instances in Outpost subnet communicate with other instances in a region using private IP addresses, all within the same VPC. The next compute service is Elastic Beanstalk. With Elastic Beanstalk, you can quickly deploy and manage applications in the cloud without having to learn about the infrastructure that runs those applications. Elastic Beanstalk reduces management complexity without restricting choice or control. You simply upload your application and Elastic Beanstalk automatically handles the capacity provisioning, load balancing, scaling, and application health monitoring. Elastic Beanstalk support applications developed in languages Go, Java, .NET, Node, JS, PHP, Python, and Ruby. When you deploy your application, EB builds the selected supported platform version and provision one or more resources such as EC2 to run your application. The next one is Parallel Cluster. Parallel Cluster is an AWS supported open source cluster management tool that helps you to develop and manage high performance computing clusters in cloud built on the open source CFN cluster project. Parallel Cluster enables you to quickly build an HPC, that is high performance computing cluster environment in AWS. It automatically set up the required compute resources and shared file system. Next compute service is EC2 Image Builder. Image Builder is fully managed service that makes it easier to automate the creation and management of deployment of customized, secure, and up-to-date server images that are pre-installed and pre-configured with the software and settings to meet the specific IT standards. Features of EC2 Image Builder increases the productivity and reduce operations for building compliant and up-to-date images, increase service uptime, raise the secure bar for deployments, centralize enforcement and lineage tracking, simplified sharing of resources across AWS accounts. The next compute service is Wavelength. Wavelength enables developers to build applications that deliver ultra-low latencies to mobile devices and end users. Wavelength deploys standard AWS compute and storage services to the edge of the telecommunication carriers' 5G networks. You can extend you can extend VPC to one or more wavelength zones. You can then use resources like EC2 instances to run the application that require ultra-low latency and a connection to AWS services in the region. Next compute service is SAM, Serverless Application Model. Serverless Application Model is an open source framework that you can use to build serverless applications on AWS. A serverless application is a combination of Lambda functions, event sources, and other resources that work together to perform tasks. Note that a serverless application is more than just a Lambda function. It can include additional resources such as APIs, databases, event source mappings. You can use SAM to define your serverless application. SAM consists of two components, one SAM template specification and SAM CLI. Using these two, you can define your serverless application. Next compute service is SAR, Serverless Application Repository. Is a managed service for serverless applications. It enables teams, organizations, and individual developers to find, develop, publish, share, and store easily assemble serverless architectures. Next service is End of Support Migration Program (EMP). This is specifically for Windows servers. This end of Windows servers migrates the legacy application from Windows 2003, 2008, 2008 R2 servers to newer services, supported versions on AWS without any code refactoring. EMP technology decouples the application from the existing operating system and packages it with all necessary application files and components. The program then refactor or re-platform it to a supported version of the Windows operating system on AWS. After the migration, any outdated API calls are redirected, enabling the application to run on the latest version of the Windows operating system. Let us jump into the containers. The first container service we'll discuss about is ECR, Elastic Container Registry. ECR is a secure, scalable, and reliable AWS managed container service. ECR supports private repositories as well as public repositories with a resource-based permissions using IAM. This is so that the specified users or EC2 instances can access your container repository and images. ECR supports public container image repository as well. This will be used to store your architectures, and you can easily publish, share to multiple accounts or multiple resources easily. Next container service is ECS, Elastic Container Service. Elastic Container Service is a highly scalable, fast container management service that makes it easy to run, stop, manage Docker containers on a cluster, of EC2 instances. ECS launch types can be of two types: Fargate launch type, that is serverless architecture, or you can also launch your ECS with EC2 instances. ECS is AWS fully managed service, hence open source applications code won't work on this ECS. For that you need to use next service, that is EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. Elastic Kubernetes Service is a managed service that makes it easy for you to run Kubernetes on AWS without needing to install and operate your own Kubernetes clusters, control planes, or nodes. Kubernetes is an open source system for automatically deployment. It automatically deploys and scale and management of your containerized applications. So third party or open source applications or codes you can easily run on EKS. So ECS is not supporting of that one. So it runs and scales the Kubernetes. Automatically scales the control plane. Next service is ROSA, that is Red Hat Open Shift Service on AWS. ROSA is a managed service that's available through the console only. With ROSA as a Red Hat OpenShift user, you can build, scale, and manage containerized applications on AWS. The next service is App Runner. App Runner is a compute service as well as container service. AR provides a fast, simple, and cost-effective way to deploy from source code or a container image directly to scalable and secure web application in the cloud. You don't need to learn new technologies and decide which compute service to use or know how to provision and configure AWS resources. AR connects directly to your code or your image repository. It provides an automatic integration and delivery pipeline with fully managed operations, high performance, scalability, and security. The last compute service available is App2Container. App2Container is a command line tool for modernizing .NET and Java applications into containerized applications. Using A2C, that is App2Container, simplifies your migration tasks by performing inventory and analysis of your existing applications, creating Docker containers that include your application dependencies, and generating deployment templates based on AWS best practices with known values filled in for you. After you have reviewed your template, A2C helps you register your containers to ECR, ECS, or EKS and build CI/CD pipelines using CodeStar of AWS service. That's the end of the presentation, folks. Thank you for watching this video. Thanks. Have a good one.